Uh, Hello, are we live? I think we may be live.
Are we on?
I think so. Mark, just give us a heads up if we're live.
You're live.
We're
Oh,
live.
oh no. There was no countdown. Stuart and I don't know what to do when we don't have a countdown.
Yeah, there was no little intro music and everything. So
Yeah.
we have to put on our big kid pants and deal with it, right?
Well, we're good at winging it.
Yeah, yes, we are. We've been doing it for 5 years now.
Yes, we have. Has it been 5 years? Seems like I
Yeah.
just met you yesterday.
I know. Yes, we were just 16 when we met.
Yep. Yep. And now we don't look a day over 20.
That's right. And please, let's get this in writing.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm trying to hide my cat.
Is the cat still? Yeah, the cat's looking at itself in the mirror.
She's put her back to us, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Apparently the view in that direction is better than in this one.
Yeah, she was earlier. She wanted to be on the show, but I think Mark must have offended her in some way because now she's got her back to us. I don't know what he said. She looks a little offended.
Oh, that is funny.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there.
Okay, that's good.
Had an interesting week, which kind of led us to this discussion. I have been, your kids probably all know this, that the younger generation is usually more up on technology than we are, and
Yeah.
for quite a while now, my son has been saying to me, "Dad, do you still have cable?" I said, "Well, yeah," and he says, You ought to get rid of cable." And I thought, well, why get rid of cable? Because it's got all the channels that we want to watch, and I know what button to push. And yet every month when you open up the envelope, the bottom line keeps going up another couple of dollars, and then it's $5 and it's $10. And so I finally took the plunge. And I got to tell you, and I got to share with our audience, nothing could have been easier.
Okay. Tell us about the process of doing that.
It really was a very easy process, although there's lots of choices out there. I had been with a cable provider for a number of years, and also had one of those bundles, with your internet and with the landline that we have in the house. So it was, well, I don't know if I want to split all that up.
Yeah.
Very easy. You can get one cable provider, you can get one internet provider, you can get a landline provider, a cell phone provider. You can do them all independently, and sometimes it's as cost effective, if not more so, than by bundling them, because the hook is when you get into a program with one company, sometimes they have these what they call introductory offers, and it's good for a year, and then all of a sudden after the year you go to the regular price, which now starts to go up. But one of the main concerns was, look, I have certain channels that I want to watch, and among them, I think, as you have said, Vaughn, is your local news stations, your local ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS stations. Not all of those streaming providers allow you that opportunity. So I went with YouTube TV as the main provider, and it's through the internet and Wi-Fi, no longer with the cable. So did away with the cable. Now, that process is about half the cost of what the cable was. And you say, oh, okay, fine. Well, actually, it was almost a third of the cost of what I was paying for the cable. But you get a certain amount for YouTube if you also want those other things like Netflix and Prime Video and any of the other providers, Crackle and Hulu and all of those for other movies or other shows, you have to add those on, just like you did when you got your cable, and then you bought Showtime and HBO and Cinemax and Stars and all of those. They were a little add-on. So we went with the YouTube TV because it provided the most for the biggest bang for the buck. Now, having said that, we got online, we did it. My son helped a little bit setting it up. I now watch YouTube TV on my computer, on my tablet, on my TVs, on my phone, all of it. With my cable provider, you know how you had a box where you could record programs if you wanted to watch them later?
Yep.
You could record maybe 2 or 3 at a time, and you could record up to about 30 programs. This YouTube TV thing, and this as well as some of the other streaming providers, unlimited. You can record your little butt off, and all you got to do is have the time to go back and watch them.
Right.
But after I did that, now we have 4 TVs in the house, and there was a box attached to each TV. Wherever there was a TV, there had to have one of those recording boxes with a cable that went from the TV to one of those connections in the wall. Gone.
And
now,
you had to pay for each box, didn't you?
Yeah, you pay for each. Yep.
And wasn't it like you had to pay for each box, and then wasn't it like an additional dollar amount per box after a certain number of boxes in your house?
Well, with our previous cable provider, it was just a flat fee per box per month.
No matter how many TVs you had in the house.
Right.
Okay.
But if you didn't have the box, you couldn't really watch the TV.
Right.
You had to have one box per TV in order to do it. So I disconnected the boxes. I disconnected that cord that went to the wall and everything. That's gone. I have one. This little thing right here that controls everything now. I used to have to turn the TV on with one remote, and then you had to use another remote for the volume, and you needed another remote to change the channels, and you were juggling remotes. It's simplified the process. So now it is streaming TV, and some of the other optional companies, if you don't want to go with YouTube TV, which I think is about $68 to $70 a month for gosh, it's probably 150 channels or more, but you have all these other things that you can access. Roku is another one of those. Sling TV is another one. But you've all seen if you have a smart TV and you open it up, it's got all these little buttons on there for Netflix, for Amazon, for Disney, the Disney channels, Discovery One. Now you can add for $5.99 a month or so. Crackle, Tubi, Peacock, and every month there's another one that comes out. In my mind, you can only watch so many movies. But remember when we used to watch favorite shows on HBO or Showtime, which I was a big Showtime follower, some of those series. They're now on YouTube TV. So they've all kind of gone that way. And I think that it's kind of the wave of the future. The thing is, I've become a believer that you're throwing your money away if you're spending $200 or more a month on your cable service, because you now have that option of going with one of these streaming services and then customize it whatever way you want. Add as many movie channels as you want. You can even add a movie channel for a couple of months, and if you don't like it, cancel it.
Well, you are amongst the masses, because the cable industry showed a dramatic drop in what do you call it? Membership? What would you call it? Viewers? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it was like almost 90% of their customers switched, or as you said, cut the cord. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. It seems it reminds me of back when we all had to say our goodbyes to Blockbuster and our VCR machines and our tape cassette, the big tapes. And I mean, it was a time that I loved, because we would take our kids to Blockbuster and we would walk through the store and we'd find our tapes, and we would buy some candy or whatever and go home and put it in the VCR. And it was just so fun. And and then all of a sudden we were all shocked, like, oh my gosh, Blockbusters are closing down everywhere. Now we can go on the TV and we can just download, and all of a sudden modern technology caught up and we all had to say our goodbyes to Blockbuster. I'm not saying that the cable industry is, but I am saying you're seeing a change now with modern technology, all these options that we have, like you were saying, with this live streaming. It's easier, more convenient, more affordable. It gives you more options in terms of what you want to watch, the packages and all that you can do. And it's very a la carte. Like you said, add this, take away that. You don't have to deal with the cumbersome boxes anymore. I mean, kind of a no-brainer, right? It just seems like, and I know a lot of people do it. Now, you just did it kind of because your son recommended it. There are a lot of people that do it, well, first of all, because it's more affordable, but also you have a lot of people that move physically. I know I had a friend that just moved, and because she moved, it put her in a position where she had to kind of make a decision. Did she even want to renew it? And she just chose not to. My parents, same thing. They're in the middle of a move literally this week. They'll have to make the decision, and they probably most likely will not renew it because this is a better option. So I think it's the way of the future. Can I say that out loud? Uh-oh, I said something wrong. Boss man's here.
Yeah. We're not cutting the cord with you, boss.
I was hoping you would, but okay. No, I was, you keep on, Vaughn. I was just going to comment in that I'm kind of the probably 50-50 opposite of Stuart, because when we were in Texas, we actually had satellite. I'd cut cable, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. And then I just went satellite. Well, satellite, much like cable, right? It just kind of trickles up. And then you call and there's this, oh, but we don't want to lose you as a customer. How about we'll save you X amount of dollars? And of course you hear the little, instead of reading the little black lines, you hear the little voice in the background going, but your cost will go up in 12 months or 3 years or whatever it is, right? That they give you a package. Well, here's the bad thing about the internet. When we moved into a rural area. We could get satellite, but we'd have to go get it because there's nothing ever been installed there.
Right.
2, there's no cable in our area. We're still an old school, just a phone line system, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, well, let's just get 2 internet lines and let's just do internet TV. Why do we get 2 internet lines? Because I'm in a rural area, it has very slow internet. So I had to get 2 different same provider, 2 different lines coming in order to get just a decent speed, right? Well, we started subscribing to Hulu, much like we looked at YouTube. We did Hulu. And then you get into, oh, hey, go do this. Hey, go add this. Next thing you know, you're paying $70 for one, then you're paying $5.99 for another, then $7.99 for another, then $14.99 for Netflix, and then $15.99 for this. And then you see a TV show that's out there, something new and trending, and you decide you want to get it. So the only way to get it is to have a TV provider that's approved. Well, I don't have a TV provider. I have Hulu, and it wasn't on the list. So it said, here's your list. I finally see Filio TV. So I go sign up for Philo. Next thing you know, if I were to put all my bills together, I'm paying $200 a month.
Ooh, really? And Mark, do you think that that's mainly because of geographically where you're located?
No, it's all about convenience. It's all about the options, right? So much like cable and satellite, you want all these channels, and they're going to sell you on all these packages, right? Well, the internet is unlimited. So there's a lot of things you can get for free. However, if you want regular local TV and stuff, then you need something like YouTube or Hulu or Philo or Sling TV in order to get those local brands. All your other national brands are pretty much on all the packages. But then you'd like to go to Netflix and watch movies. You'd like Amazon Prime. You'd like to have Crackle. You'd like to have a few that you didn't mention, Stuart.
Voodoo.
Like Echo TV is one I watch. Gaia, Paramount Movies, Pluto TV is another one that I watch. Tubi TV, and then you've got things like Discovery Plus.
Right.
Then you got Disney Plus. So you add all those fees up. Next thing you know, and they're all trickle charging, right? So it's $4.99 here, $7.99 there. You know, I could save $2 a month for just regular Discover and regular Disney, but I was like, no, I want commercial free. You know,
right.
I don't want any advertising. So I'll pay $6.99 instead of $4.99. So I don't know if it's $200, but I do know I pay $70 for one, and then I pay $15 or $17 for Netflix. I pay whatever it is I pay a year for Amazon Prime. And then you're talking about just that. Well, then there's music. And you got Spotify, YouTube, and then a few others. And by the time you add all those music, Apple Music Unlimited, you know, I'm paying another $50 a month. So I'm probably paying $200, $250 a month when you put it all together.
Right.
It does save most people money, though.
But you are a very active viewer. I mean, you know what I mean? Wouldn't it, don't you? So that's very interesting. All that you just brought up, I didn't think of it that way, but you are a very active viewer. And so maybe this isn't right for everyone is what you're saying.
Correct.
Right. You know,
and much like what Stuart did, I went and bought Fire TV. Even though you cut the boxes, I could get the Fire, what was it called? The little boxes, but I got the Fire TV, the big box, because I wanted high definition. I wanted the best that I could get. So I had to buy 4 of those and put one on every TV. It's unfortunate, but now, like Stuart, you can control your TV. I can control my sound bar in my bedroom and office. I can control my stereo system in my media room. I mean, it's all with that remote. And Amazon Fire TV is by far the best I've ever had.
Yeah, that Fire TV, and that's recommended that you get the Fire TV stick to put on any of the older TVs that you have that are not the HD or that are the smart TVs, because that basically makes it a smart TV. But you know what you were talking about before, and Vaughn was mentioning is, you know, you got all these channels, and are you going to be watching all these channels? Back in the cable days, you got a package. For instance, you got for X number of dollars a month, you got HBO and Cinemax and Stars and Showtime and all of that. And then you realized, well, you know what? I never really watched, you know, half of them. I basically watched these 2. Now what you're doing is it's like being in a candy store. You pick out the channels that you want based on what their content is. So if you want all sci-fi movies, there's a service that you can get for that. If you want for the kids, you can get into the Disney or the Disney Plus. It's, you know, but again, you've got to be able to go and research all this stuff. But as I said earlier, if you want Crackle, you get into Crackle, and if you realize that 2 or 3 months later, you know, I'm paying $5.99 a month for Crackle, and I haven't even watched one movie because I've been watching from another service, you just discontinue it. You don't have to redo your whole TV system again.
Well, it's, you know, I think Vaughn had it. If you are a heavy watcher, a heavy user, then you're going to want to probably have all the options. I mean, I can't say that I have the best setup for anything. I have the best setup for me and my wife. She likes the Amazon
and where
Fire
you're
TV.
Located.
Yeah, and I've got the Fire TV Cube, so I don't have the little box. I have the big box.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, you know, it's about, Vaughn, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but it's about influence sometimes. If I'm going into the living room or to the bedroom or even, well, yeah, just those 2, I'm going to turn the TV on and I've got a remote and I've got all the apps that I can get on there. Every app that we've discussed on here and 10 times more than that. Some free and some I probably pay $1 a month or some I pay $20 a year. Comes out to 50 cents a month, whatever it is, right? Just because you're like, oh, you know what? I might watch that one time. So it's worth $20 for me.
Right.
But when I'm at my computer, and that's my influence. My influence is I'm on Hulu and I get to flip through all the channels. Well, it's not like cable, it's not like satellite. So some of the time you have to flip channels in order to go, oh, okay, I'm interested in that. I'll watch that for a minute. When you're on the computer, though, it's totally different. You actually have to click on things. You have to actually forward think about what am I interested in watching. So sometimes because I'm producing shows and I'm trying to get YouTube links, I will go to YouTube. Next thing I know, I'm watching America. I'm getting caught up on America's Got Talent. I'm watching two singers right now, a girl and a guy that are out singing off the beaches and entertaining people. I'm watching funny videos. It's whatever influences that I see in my channel, in my lineup,
Right.
on my news feed. And, you know, it's entertaining for me, but I am a heavy user.
The real key to it is the internet provider that you have in your area, because you have to have a good, strong internet and Wi-Fi capability. For instance, where I live, AT&T fiber is not even available in my community, and there's a lot of people that have say, "Oh, get AT&T fiber because it's very reliable and it's very fast." Well, but if you don't have it in your area, you can't. You have to find out what's right for your area and then connect to the service that's best with that.
And you're absolutely right, 100%. When we moved here to Michigan, I thought I was going to be able to get anything because I did the reviews, I did the research. Oh yeah, they got every provider out there. Everybody's got fiber. It's all great and everything. And then I moved into the house, and I was told that it had fiber and that it was fast internet, even for the previous couples, right? Well, I move in and they're like, you got DSL. What do you mean I got DSL? Thought I had fiber. That fiber's out there at the road. Yeah, but that's for shared, and that's for everybody. So you only get DSL. So my bandwidth was only 25 down and 3 up. And I was like, no, I can't. That's like going to 56K for my gig to gig that I had at the home. No, I can't do that. And the lady goes, well, we could bond 2 of them together and you can get 50 and 6. Well, that's what I did. And and so I'm stuck because I'm in a rural area. It's all I have. I have signed up for Elon Musk's Starlink, but it's not available into my northern area until August, September. And I'll be able to bond that together and get a little bit faster, but I'm out of options because of the area that I'm at. There is no cable. Now, there is a cable provider, a fiber cable company that is running fiber in a 1,000-mile radius up here in the north area. And my area is not going to be available till probably 2023. So I'm still a few years away before I'll finally get caught up. But honestly,
and by then there may be another platform to get involved in.
It's just my wife and I. So here's where I'll stop it. I'll finish this. Here's the thought process. You have 2 slow internet lines coming in. You got to use a little common sense. She wants to watch TV. I want to watch TV. That's fine. That's not a problem. If she's watching TV in her office and I'm trying to produce shows, I have to yell across the house, turn off the TV, because video on my side starts to scramble and I can't catch up with everybody and hear everybody. So I know she's streaming another video on the other side. So we do tax the system, but you use common sense. Hey, honey, I'm going to be busy from 11, 12, and 1. Okay, I don't have any conference calls. I won't watch any TV. I'll listen to stream music, and I'll just sit there and do my work. It works perfect for us because there's a balance and common sense that you work together on it.
Right.
But there are times at night where I'm watching something on the computer. I've got my TV in my office going, and she's in there going, I can't watch the TV. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Turn one thing off. And it works again.
It sounds like y'all need to move out of the woods.
Yeah, that's kind of going back to the day of having party lines on your telephone.
Yeah.
You know, pick up the phone and you say, Mabel, I need to make an important call to my niece. Can you hang up and I can use the line for a little bit?
Right.
I remember those days.
Well, I think this is interesting conversation though, because if somebody right now is sitting there, like, I'll be honest with you, till Mark kind of brought up the pricing structure of that scenario, those different scenarios, it's not as much of a no-brainer as I thought it was. But like, how do you advise somebody who is considering it? Do you just kind of first, if I'm somebody who's considering cutting the cord, the cable cord, do you consider how many people are in the house? What's your viewing routine? You know, are you like Phil's not going to let go of ESPN ever. So if a package doesn't include ESPN, it's not going to be considered. Like, I mean, how do you start to determine whether or not that would be a good move for you in terms of affordability and convenience and options and all that?
It's hard because you have to be forced into it. You know,
Yeah.
For me, moving here was being a force. But
Yep.
ESPN is on all of them. But here's the one good thing that can happen for it all. Most every TV you buy is some kind of smart device in it. The Amazon Fire TV cubes are $120. They're a one-time cost, and they'll work for 3 or 4 years until they update another one. So it's minimal cost on the hardware stuff that you own, but the packages and the stuff you can get is across the board. But here's the one thing either one of y'all have mentioned that I love about switching to internet TV in general across the board. And it's simply this. I'm at home and I'm watching TV on the living room. I stop my show. I now want to go to the bedroom. I start where I left off. Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to watch it from my phone while I'm going down the road to my friend's house. I can continue watching my show. No matter what device I have, it's on everything that's available. So it moves with me around my life. I'm not surrounding my life around it. It's surrounding its life around me because it's convenience.
Yeah.
And the other thing, what you mentioned, Vaughn, is talk to some of your neighbors to find out, because again, it starts with the internet provider, because you want to make sure that you get a fast enough connection that's going to allow you to do that. And as far as the packages, what's the best channels and everything, I relied on my son and daughter because they're of that age. They're the millennials that are following all this new technology. Your son and daughters would probably be able to tell you the same thing. And then it's not such a high cost to add some of these extra channels for a month or two, because a lot of them give you a 3-month free trial anyway. And you go in and see if they've got the movies that you like. Some people like old movies, and there are some providers like Vudu and Crackle and all that have a lot of the old shows. If you just want to see the current movies, then maybe you don't need those channels. But you talked earlier, Vaughn, about the cassettes going into Blockbuster, and the one thing that I find that with the internet TV now is you don't get as much information about the movies. Like, for instance, if I want to watch that movie, who's in the movie, who directed it, who stars in it, what's it briefly about, a synopsis of the movie. That's not as readily available as maybe with the cable company. You could review it a little bit to see it, and of course, when we got our VCRs back from Blockbuster, you went in there and spent half the day just looking at the back panel of the VCR to see what it was all about and who starred in it.
But now you can, like, I'm big on Hulu right now anyway, because I'm into Handmaid's Tale, but like you can watch trailers, and I love that you like. Yeah. Sometimes, we'll bounce around Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. Me and my kids will bounce around, and we'll just spend too much time just watching trailers because we're trying to decide what to watch.
Yeah. But that can be fun. I mean, because here's the interesting thing is, like, so when you think about what you want, right? At the end of the day, you got to have some kind of a hardware device that gets you where you want, whether it's a smart TV or some kind of a TV box. Like we use Fire TV. He's using Fire TV Stick. You can use Roku, and there's 3 or 4 other big brands that are out there that are good to watch. But there are millions of apps out there. And I was just looking at one because he mentioned classic. So there is a classic movie app that's out there. There is a thing called snag films, which are all the B, C, and D cut movies that you probably never heard of before. You probably never will hear of, but they're in there because somebody made it and it didn't go anywhere. And well, you might want to watch it. And then there's horror movies, and then there's all kinds of different options to watch everything. But I had to do what Stuart did. I looked at Fire TV at YouTube, but Hulu ended up working for me because it was on Amazon. It was easy. It was simple. But I have found myself just using multiple devices, from iPads to iPhones to tablets in my computer, just depending on where I'm at and what I'm trying to watch at the end of the day. But what I do like is it goes back to convenience. Yeah, I'm paying for it, but I might want to watch a movie somewhere or something. But we just get a little common sense. I'll use my phone and I'll use IMDb, which is Internet Movie Database. And I will use that and go, oh, she's in this movie. Oh, this is pretty good. And it gives you a better synopsis of it. Or you just try Google.
Right.
And get what you need.
Yeah. But what Vaughn was saying earlier, and we've all shared, Lauren and I will sit on with Netflix or something. I say, you want to watch a movie? Okay. You go on to Netflix and you sit there for an hour just going through all of what you want, a comedy, you want a romance movie. Okay, maybe romance. Okay, now you go through and you're reading the synopsis of each one of them. An hour and a half goes by, and you say you haven't found a movie, and let's just go to bed.
Exactly.
Well, which is funny because what Vaughn was saying, we've done this. There is an app out there that's called Movie Trailers.
Movie what?
Movie Trailers.
Movie trailers? Okay.
Yep, and that's all it is. It's just trailers. And some of them are the extended, or you know how some movies put out 2 or 3 trailers, you know?
Yep.
You can watch them all back to back and then go to the next movie. The next thing you know, you spend an hour watching 15 to 30 movie trailers, and you got caught up with the latest trend, right? But there's one night, it was I don't even remember why we did it, but there's an app on Fire TV that is mainly for commercials. And it's like what you've seen in movies, where there are an opportunity for you to watch classic commercials you've never seen before. It's freaking hilarious.
I would love that.
And you watch these and you're like, I didn't know they made that product. I didn't know that actor was in that movie. I didn't know they did that commercial. And then they because they do that. That's the part of the enterprise of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about the background noise.
Yeah. You know what I'm loving?
You got the background kids, and Vaughn's got the background cat.
Yeah.
Well, that's called back behind Mark. I've been kind of giggling under my breath because that's called summertime commotion right there.
Right.
Yes, my friend Joe moved up here to Michigan, a longtime friend of mine, and somebody that's been part of the radio station. He moved up here to Michigan, and I'm babysitting his kids. Him and his wife had an appointment to go 2 hours away, and needed somebody to watch the kids. So here I am.
So you've just added another channel that you didn't know you were going to have, right?
Yeah, they call me Uncle Mark because that's the name they gave me. And yes, my entertainment is back here, and it's 3 kids. Well, 2 kids out of the 3 that don't get along sometimes.
Sounds like you might need to put a little Netflix on, or I don't know who.
Yeah.
Find yourself a movie.
You need another remote. You can say, here, kids. Here.
Yeah, it's called. Here it is, right here. I'm going to take a video of you. Let's see how you look on YouTube.
Right.
Well, I think that's a very interesting conversation. My parents are moving literally as we speak. They started packing up yesterday, and they're finishing packing today, and then they start the move tomorrow and move in tomorrow and Friday. And they're going to have to they're going to have to make a decision whether or not they keep their cable or whatever. So this is timely conversation for me, because Phil and I are going to have this conversation with them. Mark, you and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't watch really any TV except for in the morning. I might put it on while I'm in the kitchen. But even then, and Stuart, I know I was asking you about ABC, CB, all those, but I was only asking because I was curious. I don't watch those channels because I don't particularly like watching the news ever. So for me, all I like to tune into are some good little reruns here and there, Friends or, Andy Griffith or whatever, just kind of just take me back in time and let me just kind of just go to that place. And then I like to have access to just my shows that Phil and I are watching Ozark and, him, like I just want access to those shows. Of course, ESPN. So really, I don't need much. So if I were to look at this, I would look at probably a very basic package, I would think. Now, probably my guess is that they get you by withholding something. They'll give you a package and they'll probably withhold something.
Yeah, it'll eliminate something that you really want.
Eliminate either, so, but it's interesting to me. And as I talk this through with you guys, it's making me wonder how I'm going to have this conversation with my parents. Because, my mom's like me. She likes the old movies and all that sort of thing. But they do still like the mainstream networks. They still, of course, my dad, big sports fiend. Right. So I don't know. I'm going to have to talk them through this and decide what would be the best option for them.
Well, if they go through it through a internet service and all, you find out what those things are. Let your dad look at what service provides Major League Baseball and NFL and NBA coverage and the ESPN 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 15, whatever that is part of that package. And then if your mom wants the classic movie channels and that look and see what provides that. Because if it's Hulu or it's Sling or it's YouTube or whatever, then you go that direction.
Yeah, my recommendation, and I agree with Stuart, I would say that if they're going to cut the cable, my suggestion would be is to get a Fire TV because it's the most universal out there. Yes, Roku's good, Slingbox is good. There's several others that are good, but Fire TV is the most what's the word I'm trying to think? The most flexible to work with.
It's the mainstream.
Yeah. Platform. But you can get any app and everything on there. And if Phil wants ESPN, he can subscribe to ESPN. You may get it with Hulu or even YouTube. You may get like 1 and 2. You may not have all 4 of their channels and their college and all that stuff, but you can subscribe to that for $4.99 a month,
Right.
And he can get everything that he wants, even though it's a separate app or an app process on the device. But your parents, think about the process you went through when you were going from a home phone to cell.
Yeah.
Right? You were untethered, right? And it was really convenient, but then the bill was high. So then you limited the phone calls until it became more of a mainstream.
Right.
Well, that's where we were at on the internet TV, right? There are 2 types of people, really. There are the people that are just trying to have some entertainment and they're just trying to save a few bucks because they don't have a whole lot. So they're just getting what they need to have that type of entertainment. And then there's the other person, which is wanting the convenience. And it's based on where they're at. Like me, I don't, like you said, Stuart watches, news and TV and stuff. I don't watch the news. I watch movies. I watch TV shows. I'm in, but certain things happen and then you have to go do certain things. Cause like we watched Yellowstone and the only way to watch Yellowstone on internet was to go to the Peacock app. Well, the only way to watch it through the Peacock app is to go, or Paramount, is to go with a TV service, which we had to go with Philo. So I pay $20 a month just so I can watch Yellowstone on Paramount. So you have to back up sometimes to go forward.
Yeah.
But and everything.
And also,
it's a convenience.
Also, when you're finished with Yellowstone, when it's over, if there's another show that comes on that same service that you now want to follow, fine. If not, then you can just drop that service.
That is correct.
The worst case scenario that I see is when you add all of these channels and you add it all up, if it comes out to be about the same that you were paying with the cable company, so be it. It's a wash. But I'm finding that this internet streaming system is so much easier than having these physical boxes, because every once in a while I'd have to call up the cable provider and say, listen, I'm not able to get reception on my main TV. Oh, okay. Well, we'll send you out a new box. Now you got to trade out the old box. And I got to tell you, I took those 4 boxes with the the electrical connections and the remote controls. And I walked into the store and I opened up this big bag with these 4 boxes and all this kind of stuff. And I handed it to the fella, and it wasn't like, oh, well, what can we do to keep you as a customer? He simply scanned it all, gave me a receipt for everything. And he opened up a big cabinet in the back. It was filled with all these boxes. So I think the trend is, like we went from VCR to at Blockbuster to then DVRs and DVDs and all of that, to no Blockbusters or Hollywood video and all of that. It's just a kind of the sign of the times. It's the next progression,
Right.
to make life a little bit simpler.
Now, here's something for your parents, Vaughn, is, your mom and them are going to want to have the opportunity to watch something, whether it's a TV series or a movie. Well, now we're talking about on demand. So there's 2 things that I'm seeing that's happening. Now, Stuart's found this out just yet. One of them is that, let's say a TV series. Like I watch Bosch on Amazon Prime. It's a crime show. It's a police and order show. It's really cool. And they've had 4 or 5 seasons out. Well, when the season comes out, they put all the shows out. So you can binge watch the entire season, right? But now other providers are getting smart, and they're going, wait a minute. What if I just release 1 a week, like the cable and the satellite days? So now that's happening, and I'm loving it, because now it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. But here's what's really cool for your parents. They can go back and watch them at any given time. Yeah. They don't have to worry about 7 o'clock tonight, the show's going to come on. Yeah, they can watch it tomorrow night, or they can watch it Saturday night. Doesn't matter. All they got to do is go to it. Oh, there's the past shows. Now, there are some, it's very, very few, that they'll only put it live the next 24 hours or 48 hours, and then it goes away for a month or 2. There are some shows that I've seen do that. But most of them, especially on Hulu, they're all right there available. Right after the show, boom, all of a sudden they're all there.
Right.
So that's a very good convenience for your parents to consider, that no matter what show they want to watch, they'll be able to get caught up at any given time.
And I agree with you. And that does sound like a very attractive, kind of feature or whatever. But also I need to consider whether or not it's user friendly. And Stuart mentioned at the very beginning of this conversation about how many remotes we used to have. And, you'd have one remote to turn it on and one remote to change the channel and one remote to do the volume and whatever. And now we even have remotes if we're going into Apple, we have to do that. Like, that's one thing I have to consider. Whatever my parents decide, it has to be user friendly.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to use it because they're not going to know how to use it. So I have to.
And where they're moving, have them talk to their neighbors. And just say, what service do you have, and are you happy with it? Are there any downfalls? And they only need to talk to 2 or 3 people, and they'll probably find out that there's 1 or 2 that are the most popular.
Well, and here's something you guys haven't even mentioned yet, and I'll throw this out there. It is a curveball. It's having multiple hardware. So yeah, you got a TV. Let's say you got a sound bar, and let's say you get your device, right? Well, I went out and bought Apple TV. I hadn't had it, never had it. And I bought it because the way that Kim and I read it on Fire TV is you need to have Apple TV. So we downloaded it up here. Well, that didn't work. I went and paid the $200 and bought the box, and that didn't work. Turns out you have to have a service provider. So I got hoodwinked into buying all this stuff. If you don't have the media room in order to do multiple devices, and this is a 2-part question to answer to this. One is you better have multiple HDMIs in behind your TV or on your media server, because most sound bars nowadays only have one. Yeah. So you're not going to be able to have a Roku, a Slingbox, a Fire TV, and an Apple TV all connected to your sound bar, because you only got one HDMI out and one HDMI in. Some have 2 in, so yeah, there you go. So you limit yourself. You got to have one device. So that's something that people need to consider, is what hardware do you have?
So let me just ask you this. So say you're like, my parents are 84, right? So say they make their decision, and then that they have somebody from On Demand or somebody from, I don't know, whoever's going to install this or whatever, are they going to be able to tell them, okay, you need this, this, and this in order to access? No, they've got
Not
to know.
all of them. No.
That's what's so tricky for.
So
Like,
the smartest, knowing your age of your parents, the smartest thing for them to do, I would suggest, my opinion only, is get a Fire TV, either a cube or a stick, and that's it. Because it doesn't sound like they want a sound bar. They're going to use the TV remote and TV sound. So all they need is the one box, and that Fire TV can get anything and everything. I think for their age, it's more easier friendly to use the Fire TV remote than it is the Apple TV, because the Apple TV, you have to kind of use the mouse pattern with your thumb, and the Fire TV, you don't.
And they can go to the local Best Buy or something and have one of the salespeople just say, I'm interested in this Fire TV. Can you tell me what it's all about? And ask the questions and get a little bit of a rundown that way too. And these new smart TVs, I mean, you can get a nice size smart TV for under $200 now.
yeah,
It's incredible. So, where you used to be, you were laying out $1,200 just to get a TV that would allow you to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah, and that is actually very, very true. In our case, in the master bedroom, we just had a TV and a sound bar, and both of them had the smart devices on it. But unfortunately, some of the apps, what's the word? Buffering. When we'd watch an app, let's say Hulu, it would buffer all the time.
Yeah.
I finally ended up having to buy the Fire TV Cube and put one in there, another $120, and now I don't have the buffer anymore. So
Right.
even the cheaper TVs have a problem trying to catch up with some streaming services, just getting your Wi-Fi and internet to it.
So what you're saying is TVs need to be somewhat compatible with what you choose.
Yes.
God, this is like.
And here's the thing. I hate to throw this little curveball, but a $200 TV versus a $1,400 TV are two different TVs.
Yeah.
And they will have two different processors in there that can stream that service. Even though they're exactly the same look, one's got a faster processor than the other.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I said have your parents talk to some of their neighbors, because the first consideration is how you going to get the power that you need to your TVs depends on the community where you live and what's provided, as far as, the internet and your web, your Wi-Fi service that's in your community.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I will say this, as much as I say all that stuff is all really cool, things happen and along the line. And, I bought 4 Fire TVs cubes. 1 or 3 of them are version 1, I think it was. And I bought those a while back. Then we moved there. I bought 1 more, which is my 4th one, and it's version 2. It's the only one in the house that works instantly and extremely fast. The one in my office upstairs, and they're all directly wired. None of them's wireless. Everything's wired into my internet. I can click on Hulu. 20 seconds later, it'll finally show my name and Kim's name. And then I'll click on it. 15, 20 seconds later, it goes into it. If I go downstairs, click, 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 click.
But that's part of the process. Look, there was the Apple III phone that was out for what, eight years or something. Then all of a sudden it was the 4 and the 5 and the 6. Now every 6 months they got another number out. They want you to continue to upgrade what you have. What
I think is funny is that we now define 15 to 20 seconds as long.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Why does it take 30 seconds to download this program?
I'm so used to my phone. I click and go, there it is. Whoop, there it is.
I don't know.
Yes.
Sorry, someone's kidding.
Well,
yeah.
We've talked about it, and I hope we've answered more questions than we've had.
I took notes.
Now you got to go back and decipher all those notes and then share them with your parents.
And that's going to be the tough part.
Right.
Yeah. I might just give them Mark's number and have them call.
And that's fine too. I'm the opposite of Stuart. I didn't have time to do the research. I'd already been on the internet prior to that, just owning a media company and all. But I really had satellite. So it wasn't like I needed to research and figure it all out. When we moved there, it was like, holy smokes, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know, there's no cable. I can't get satellite for 2 or 3 months. COVID's happening. There's all kinds of crap going on. So, screw it. We'll just get Hulu.
Well, and Mark, you were saying because y'all relocated, that's when you started just to give it some thought. And I noticed just when I was kind of bouncing around the internet that obviously, price is the main reason people change. But the second is because people relocate and have to make the decision. And so they're, in that place where they, so that's why I'm having to visit this.
Kim and I, we've decided, we just talked about this. This reason I kind of came onto this is because we just had this somewhat, I will say, serious family discussion 2 weeks ago. And it was really kind of where are our bills? What are we paying for? Right. So I had to really go through and put it all down on the list and everything. And it was really a holy crap moment. Right. And, but then when you start talking about it, it's like, well, I can't cut that out. I can't watch that. I do watch that. I may watch that 3 times a year. I'm not going to go back and re-sign up 3 months down the road when I feel like I want to watch something. It's convenient, right? But at the end of the day, we were like, what if we go get satellite? Now we can get it. Why? Yeah. What do I need? Another box, another cables. In fact, I don't have any cables in the house. So I either have to have them run cable, or I was going to go with DirecTV. They have the new wireless version. And I was like, but that's now putting another box on each TV.
Yes.
I'll just stay with internet TV.
You are on one end of the spectrum in terms of just you're very technically savvy. You are, like you said, you're a heavy user. I mean, you are that person that, really understands and embraces this whole topic so that and you probably are one of the ones that probably, I don't know, I'm guessing spends more than the average would spend on all of this stuff, right? Don't you think?
I would think. I would think that I'm probably average, but I have one word for it. It's convenience. That's really it. It used to be a cost thing. I don't care anymore because when I turn it on, I really want to be able to watch something I want to watch. And if I don't, I'll flip around or I'll move around to different apps. And here's the interesting thing. Once or twice a year, I'll sit there on a Saturday afternoon, bored as heck, and I'll just start going through the app process. Oh, there's 15 new apps. Okay, what's that one about? What's that one about? What's that about? Right. And I'll just download them. And then I'll go in there and go, oh, nope, don't want that no more. Give it that. Okay, that's nothing but commercials. Yeah, get rid of that. And that's all ads all the time. Get rid of that one. And you find what you like.
That's like Vaughn watching the trailers for all of those movies to see what you want to watch.
I know, and I sit down with my bowl of popcorn, and the bowl of popcorn's done, so I'm like, I forget the movie.
And you haven't found a movie to watch yet because you've been too busy watching the trailers.
I want to find that. I want to find that app that's all about commercials.
It's on Fire TV, and I can't remember when I get home later today, I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you.
Okay, I want that. Good luck.
I don't remember what it's called.
Good luck for the rest of your day babysitting, Mark.
Well, and in fact, I got to go here in a second. I've got another show right after you guys, and we're already kind of gone over the time. But I'm here for another hour or two until they get back.
Well, don't forget you have to feed them some lunch or something.
Yeah.
That is hysterical.
That's great. I guess all we can say right now is that's it for something to talk about because everybody's got something else they got to go do right now. So let's all get together again next week at the same time and we'll have another show, something to talk about.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye, guys.